You are about to experience the Monty Man at Day 2 of the Recovery Northwest Project in Vancouver, Washington.
You need to see this. It's something that'll change the world and human life as we know it.
He knows. He's seen the light.
When Monty talks, it's painful.
Monty, you have been so instrumental in kind of pointing me in the right direction.
It was about looking at your character defects in spirituality.
It's the integration of clinical practices with the 12 steps.
It's an absolute pleasure. He certainly knows a lot of people. He's got a lot of energy, and sometimes when you don't have so much energy, he picks you up and carries you.
Having the Monty Man there certainly helps.
This is one of the places that is about the business of the solution.
The views expressed on this special broadcast of the K-12 radio show do not necessarily reflect those of KHLT Recovery Broadcasting or its affiliates. KHLT is not affiliated with any particular 12-step fellowship. Now here's that guy who's getting less popular minute by minute, your host, the Monty Man.
Alrighty, we are back. We are on location here in Vancouver, Washington at the Red Lion Inn, and we are having a blast. Hey, listen, you are about to hear some more great interviews, continued from yesterday, of some of the movers and shakers, some of the people, participants, and organizers of the Recovery Northwest Project, some of the presenters, some of the exhibitors right here at Take12Radio.com on your internet dial. Listen, this is sponsored by the fantastic folks. You're going to hear me talk about them a lot because they're really phenomenal. That's the folks at Free by the Sea in Ocean Park, Washington. This is a 30, 60, and 90-day program that is, well, let me just say this. It's holistic. You know what that means? It means they treat the whole person, body, soul, spirit, nutrition, emotional, anger management, physical, art therapy, emotion regulation, relapse prevention. It goes on. And because you know what? Recovery is not just about going to meetings. Meetings are wonderful. Sometimes that's where we get our start, but that's not what it's about. That's not the whole. We are a whole individual. And a lot of those issues that we're talking about, where we have issues, are outside issues, according to some of our 12-step support meetings. So we need outside help. Sometimes we need detox. Sometimes we need extended care. Sometimes we need transitional living. Free by the Sea will help you with each and every one of those aspects of your recovery and will help you continue in your recovery long after you have left their facility. Please visit their website, freebythesea.com. Right, without further ado, let's join moi, the Monty Man, with Day 2 of the Recovery Northwest Project in Vancouver, Washington. Forrest Sippy is my guest right now here at the booth, and he's with Helping Professionals Wellness Center, and you're the co-owner and one of the therapists there. So what is Helping Professionals?
Well, Helping Professional Wellness Center is an outpatient program, level 1. We do addictions treatment as well as mental health therapy. My partner, Lori Ellett, and I founded this about 4 years ago. After both of us working in the field myself for over 13 years, my partner, Lori Ellett, for about 30 years. What we found was the community-based mental health and the community-based addictions treatment was lacking something. Having worked in that field, it's a business. You have to make money to operate business. The bigger your business, the more money you need to operate it. And unfortunately, I think that people sometimes fall in the cracks. So,
right.
with that said, there's other considerations like funding and those types of things. So we decided that we'd give it a try. Put together. We went home, grabbed a couple of computers, and went and rented a space. And we were in a small 2-room office, and now we're a fully state credentialed operational outpatient treatment program.
Right, and you're in Battleground, Washington, which is where in comparison to where we are now, Vancouver?
It's about 12 miles north, maybe northeast just a bit. If you went up the I-5 corridor and took the Battleground exit, you'd probably drive 5 miles east. It would be in Battleground.
Okay, all right. So what brought you into, I mean, why aren't you building houses or doing graphic design or singing or a minister, or why this?
It's a good question.
You're still going, I don't know.
Every day that I go to work, I love it. I'm privileged to be invited into people's lives and to have some small part in helping them, recover from, this disease. Lori and I both believe that it's a brain disease, whether it's addictions, depression, anxiety. It's happening in the brain. It's a disease. It gets worse if untreated, can kill you. We named our agency Helping Professional Wellness Center on purpose to leave out the treatment part. Because we don't treat you there. What we try to do is align with you and help you see some of the things that you perhaps were missing to make better decisions for yourself.
Did you yourself struggle at one time in this area?
Sure, yeah. I'm in recovery. Been in recovery for about 15 years, 1998. Graduate of the Paul Treatment Center, saved my life. Last house on the block was what we used to call it.
Yeah.
I guess it was just a natural course of things for me to. I forgot that I wasn't any good at school, so I ended up in a classroom. And then by the time I figured it out, I had made it past the part where I was in rooms with 18-year-olds. So once I got into my master's program at Portland State University, I pretty much felt like I was doing what I was supposed to be doing.
Yeah. Good for you, man.
So we do DUI treatment up there as well.
So the courts send you folks? Or? Yeah.
Well, yeah. They come from all different referral sources, mostly lawyers for the DUI piece. Most people that get a DUI are getting a DUI for the first time. Some of those people have a serious problem, but many of them don't.
But many of them don't, right?
Right.
And just because you get a DUI doesn't make you an alcoholic or an addict.
Right,
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And you walk into that very complicated system, and it's kind of like math, If you ever taken any math class, you never know anything. Every day you go into class, there's always something new on the board.
Right.
That's kind of like it is with this. They don't really tell you how it goes. They'll hand you a piece of paper that kind of outlines what the next step is, but people are frustrated. And then when they get to the point to meeting someone like me, it's cost them a lot of money. So we try to keep our prices down so that that's not the biggest issue for them. We have to keep the lights on, so we have to charge something, but we try to inform people and help them make the best decision for their life and treat them with respect and dignity.
Sure.
And one thing about being out in Battleground is that it's out of the way, and so people aren't likely to see you pulling into a treatment center. Your neighbor, or some people have, these people that are getting DUIs have real concerns about their confidentiality. it's becoming pretty serious in terms of getting a job or keeping your job, even sometimes if the wrong people find out.
Let me ask you a question for us. I'm going to pick on this topic that a lot of people just don't want to talk about right now, or they want to talk too much about, and it's the whole legalization of marijuana for recreational purposes.
You're putting me right on the spot here. Okay.
I'm not going to go down the medical reasoning for it, because right now I'm not too concerned about that. What I am concerned about, though, is adding yet another mood, mind-altering substance to our bag of feel-good little tricks. If I'm going to give you a hypothetical or a what if for you. If I knew that somebody was under the influence of alcohol, particularly if they were heavily under the influence of alcohol, and I knew they were getting in a car and they were driving, I would do everything in my power to prevent them from leaving. If I couldn't, I would be calling the police. And this is me.
Yeah.
Okay. One of the reasons is because I have kids out there that are driving. I don't want the guy crashing into them or anybody else's kids.
That's right.
Right? It has nothing to do with whether the guy's a good guy, a bad guy, or anything. That car does not need to be mobile with somebody who is impaired.
Exactly.
Okay?
I agree.
Now, I gave that scenario to somebody else who I have a lot of respect for. And I said, now let's replace that with marijuana. The guy's been smoking pot all day, and he's stoned off his butt. He hasn't broken any laws yet, because it's legal in this state. Now he's getting behind the wheel of the car, and he's going. And my friend said, well, I don't think I'd call the police on that. What's your take on that?
I don't usually see people or be able to identify somebody who's just smoked marijuana and got in the car. I think that it's easier to identify somebody who's been drinking. Washington kind of got the cart before the horse.
Yeah.
If you remember, right, when the law was first passed, day after, over on Andreessen here in Washington, a guy ran over a guy and killed him. It was the pedestrian's fault, and it was really raining, but they didn't even ticket the guy. And he admitted that he had smoked marijuana within hours of that vehicular homicide. They didn't charge him because they didn't know how to prove intoxication. Marijuana, we don't have all of the data that we do with alcohol in terms of being impaired. Some people, for instance, myself, if I was to smoke marijuana now, I'd probably hide underneath this table.
Yeah,
right.
I get
some
that. Yeah.
People who are smoking it chronically, even under a prescription or for quote unquote medicinal purposes, may be able to smoke a large quantity. So we don't even know what the cutoff. Even if we did a blood test, we don't know where that leads. I think that for me, I think it's a matter of if you're not in control of your vehicle under any circumstances, marijuana,
sleep deprivation,
your own pain, your own medications, then there needs to be some accountability to that. But I don't know what that is today. I got to be honest.
Because whether it's, a person can be under the influence of methamphetamine, and it'd be very hard to tell if they were driving unless we were looking directly in their eyes. You're still impaired. And I know there's actually an enormous amount of evidence that people that are overly tired, the fatal car crashes versus even drunk drivers.
Right.
But see, for me, impaired is impaired. You're impaired. You're impaired.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be behind that wheel.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting call, because you're right. How do how does that look in court? I mean, how does that look? How'd you prove it? Could you prove it? The guy's now denying it.
Right. And there are only 3. If at the meeting that I was at, a substance abuse meeting for the county, they at the time had identified only 3 officers in this county that are trained to do a field sobriety test on somebody with marijuana. The other ones know some techniques to say whether or not maybe that you are on it, but there are only 3. So if an officer pulls over somebody who he thinks is impaired by marijuana, he has to call this person 3 o'clock in the morning. That person has to get up, drive out to the scene, do the field sobriety, draw the blood, make his decision. What's the likelihood that that's even going to happen? So I think that for the most part, it's probably being, ignored unless there's something occurs, an accident.
And that's unfortunate because that's unfortunately that's the way a lot of our laws get passed.
Yeah,
is somebody gets hurt.
Yeah. What I'd like to talk about that though is that what do we do with people who are dependent on marijuana? The way I see it, if you're doing anything and it's causing you problems in your life, you need to change that.
Right.
You need to make a change.
You bet.
Well, whether or not marijuana is better than alcohol or alcohol is better than marijuana, I'm not here to say. I agree with you. Why add another drug? It doesn't matter if it's not as bad as alcohol.
Right.
There's no reason to, and I don't think that it's ended up serving the people that wanted it legalized anyhow. I think that the big push of the majority of people that wanted it legalized are not seeing the benefit that they thought that they would see from it being legalized.
I think you're right. Let alone even being able to get it. Store closed, out of pot.
Right. Well, and that one guy, he lost his job, right? It's legal, but they don't have to keep you as an employee if you're smoking it. So, I think that the cart is just way before the horse on that one.
Yeah. My pastor says, and I love this, and this can be applied to anything you do in life. Based on my past experience, my current circumstances, and my future hopes and dreams, what's the wise thing to do? Right. Not what's right, not what's legal, not what's fair. What's wise?
Right. What's the next right thing? That's what I say.
And because, so it's legal, yeah, but it might be all right, but is it wise? Right. Are you really using wisdom?
Right. Well, in the treatment field, what we like to focus on is a person's values. So more than likely we all carry the same values of family, freedom, security, money. And if you list those values and then you look at your behavior, and if that behavior doesn't match your values, then I think when you're made aware of that, you tend to change on your own. The problem is that we don't tend to connect our behavior to our values if our behavior is important to us. So if what we're doing we really enjoy doing, we may know that our values are being put at risk, but we're not going to blame it on our behavior because we don't want to lose that. Right? So we come up with these ways to not see that. And what we try to do at Health and Professional Wellness Center is just clear off that value window, right? So that you clearly see what is important to you. Once you see that, you're likely to make your own choices to not do that anymore.
Right.
But it's a very complicated thing.
It is complicated.
You can say, well, I sell marijuana so that I can put shoes on my kid, or pay for the football, or so you change, you make your values in line with your behavior.
Yeah.
So
wild.
Yeah,
it's why I'll never forget going to a state fair years ago. Remember NORML, the National Organization for the Remission of Marijuana Laws?
Right, yeah.
And I've talked about this recently on some of the shows. They had a card table out there, and they were getting petitions to legalize marijuana. And and then it had a big banner. It said, "For the purpose of educating our youth on the dangers of marijuana." I said, "You really believe? Do you believe that you're going to convince me that you want to legalize pot to educate people not smoking it?"
Right.
But here's the thing that was so funny. There was a whole bunch of people that believed that.
Right.
And that's what some people will call sheeple. Yeah. They'll just follow me. But I had to laugh. I said, wow.
Well, there's some evidence now that that the marijuana, the medicinal property that's in marijuana is greater in marijuana with lower amounts of THC, with lower amounts of the active psychoactive ingredient. That strain of marijuana has more of a medicinal purpose. So really, it's not. And so if you were to derive the medical properties out of it and take away the high and take away the escape and everything else that it provides, these people that are using it for medicinal purposes would stop. They wouldn't use it because there's no benefit, there's no reward to it. So I think that sometimes we hide behind the idea that these things are good for us. But if it didn't get you high and it did the medical, you would probably do something else for your medical.
Probably. I'm sure there are exceptions to that. But
probably.
It's
interesting.
I know an elderly lady that takes the drops. Remember what drops for her chemo, and it's for the sole purpose of nausea.
Right.
It's not for pain. It's just for nausea. But she was never in the marijuana ever in her life. You know what I'm saying? So I get that. I get it. But it's so interesting and it's so complicated, and I fear that sometimes in our country, in our world, we can just say, "Oh, just let it happen because it's too complicated."
Right.
And I don't think we should give up. I think things take more, and I'm not, regardless of what side of the fence you're on, take some more time. Maybe take a deep breath. Maybe reconsider some of your ideas.
Well, I think certainly we spend the money that we have not necessarily in the best places. People are either on one side or the other of an issue staunchly.
It seems to be that way,
And I don't think that the majority of those people are very informed about either of the sides. They're just there
they take
because...
that right fighting attitude, they usually aren't.
Right. And so... if we were to really educate people, maybe and open it up and not have an agenda that we were trying to, this is big money, this is big business.
You bet.
These are,
you bet.
They think that the little homegrown guy that wanted marijuana legal. He had no idea what they were really thinking. They're talking about warehouses, 600,000 square feet, just these gigantic places full of marijuana. Do you think you're going to survive as a mom and pop marijuana grower with that kind of competition? So, it's interesting.
We're a gas station and we only sell gas to mopeds. We're probably not going to be in business very long.
That's right. I don't care what you call it.
Yeah, great. Well, Forrest, thank you so much for taking the time with us.
It was great to meet with you.
You bet. The website is hpwellnesscenter.com. Forrest Sippy is the co-owner and therapist at Helping Professionals Wellness Center in Battleground, Washington. Check out their website. Their phone number is 360-687-0693. All right, more when we come back here at Take12Radio.com, Recovery Talk, and Positive Music. Free by the Sea is a drug and alcohol recovery center located in beautiful Ocean Park, Washington. This facility is amazingly gorgeous, but what's even more impressive is the integrity of the staff and the treatment provided for those wishing to recover from drug and alcohol addiction. The folks at Free by the Sea have a passion for presenting the solution to addiction for you and your loved one. To speak with an admissions specialist, call toll-free 800-272-9199. That's 800-272-9199. All right, this is the Monty Man, your host, and sitting with me right now is Bill, and Bill is with Grounds for Recovery. I'm going to let him explain what that is. I will tell you that the card, though, on the back says Espresso and Internet Cafe. That may be deceiving. That may be a little trickery there, right, Bill? There's a lot more going on than just coffee, true?
Yes, there's a lot more going on there.
Before we talk about that, though, and before we talk about Clean Street and,
sure.
and all that, let's talk about Bill. You have how many days now?
63 days.
63 days. What the heck are you doing here, man? You helping to give away what's been given to you? Is that what's happening?
Exactly. I'm doing service work. I'm just being part of my recovery network. I was asked to be here. I'm staying clean and staying spiritual.
Okay, so let's not spend too much time on this. Drug of choice was?
Methamphetamines.
Okay, well, yeah, right on, buddy.
Thank
okay,
you.
There you go. Yeah, 18 years with a needle in my arm. God's bigger than that, though, right?
Yeah. Thank God. Yeah.
Very,
way bigger.
Very cool. And Marco just walked up to the booth. Hey, Marco.
I was just with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll leave you.
Isn't that a miracle? Just poof, he just went from you to me, just like that. As listeners know, Marco's been hanging out with us this week. Yeah. Came all the way from Arizona. And Marco, have you been enjoying the stuff?
Oh, I love this stuff.
You've been going to some of the things?
I didn't even know it was going to be like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to the nutrition and recovery thing.
Right.
Yeah, I believe in spiritual, emotional, and physical. I think the physical is just ignored
Big
in our
time.
fellowship.
Big time.
Yeah. And
here's some sugar, here's some coffee, here's some cigarettes, keep them back.
Yeah.
Right?
Although me and you have been ignoring that for 2 days.
if not more.
Yeah, exactly.
It's been the hardest part of my recovery, my body catching up to my mind.
Yeah.
Because after 20 years of meth, the body just doesn't... It's getting there, though. It's getting better.
Yeah.
But the mind is ready to do it, and then the body does it for a little while and says, whoa, buddy.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you. Well, Bill, what were you doing? Were you on the streets? Were you not everybody's on the streets. I mean, what was going on, man?
Well, after doing some bad stuff to my family, and luckily not losing my wife, but she was getting pretty tired of it, I was living in my drug dealer's basement for like 6 months, and I just got...
Oh, how convenient.
Yeah. But, I mean, she's not a bad person either. I don't hate the drug. I hate the disease.
That's right.
I got myself into Lifeline. I was just tired of it. I was tired of being scared. The anxiety was awful, and the drug wasn't doing anything for me anymore. It was boring.
Yeah, your receptors for the dopamine were shot. It's not producing
I saw everybody else was enjoying it, but I just, and I have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old, Wesley and Belladonna, and my wife Rachel, and we'd go anything. You'd go to a birthday party, go to the park or anything like that, and my focus was on when could I get high again, and it wasn't with them, and they could feel that, and I felt it, and it was, I didn't have a choice then, So I got myself into Lifeline here in Vancouver, residential treatment facility. I went there for 28 days, got myself into an Oxford House, Maywood, very proud of that, and I got myself right down to Grounds for Recovery about an hour after I got into treatment, and I met Jeff and his wife Christine, and
Jeff Green.
Jeff Talbot.
Oh, Talbot. Jeff Talbot. Okay, Jeff Talbot.
There.
Okay.
And Jason, another good guy, and he told me about something that they have going on in the back called Rides for Recovery, which is we buy cars at low cost, fix them up, I detail them, one of the things I used to do in the past, and the proceeds go to help people get into housing.
Yeah,
so it's kind of a thing that we need in society right now. 2 doors down from that is a meeting hall called Clean Street. We have AA and NA. What's that?
Yeah, it picks it up. Okay, go ahead.
AA and NA meetings, as well as Al-Anon, and there's some upcoming different types of forums going on there. We're also connected with Ripsu, which is a skateboard park in Vancouver, trying to get the message out to youngsters before they have the problem. That's the idea.
The recovery movement is certainly alive and well in Vancouver.
Oh, it's awesome.
I just keep hearing, it's kind of sleepy over on the other side of the bridge, but then you come over here, it's just, whoa! I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, I between my Oxford House and the donut shop and Clean Street and the coffee house where I work, everything is on the same street. Even my wife and kids, and even my daughter Kaylee and my granddaughter Alex, they're also on the street. It's all right there. I only have to go a mile to get everything. it's what I prayed that God would keep it easy for me,
Right.
and He kept it so easy.
Right,
I
right.
really have to actually make an effort to.
So how old are you?
I'm 46.
Okay, 46. How long you been married?
I've been married 3 years, with her for 10 years.
Okay, and how many kids?
Well, I have 4 kids.
You have 4 kids total.
Yeah, a couple for the past. I have a 22-year-old,
Okay.
Kaylee, and I have a son, Jacob, who's in California with his mom. And then I did it again with my wife, Rachel, and I have a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old.
Yeah. Well, you know, you got a huge smile on your face.
I'm a pretty happy guy.
You know, this card's very interesting. Not just because, and I'm talking about listeners, I'm talking about the business card for Grounds for Recovery. Not just because it says espresso and internet cafe, which you guys do, right?
Right.
You do have espresso and all that kind of
Oh,
stuff.
yeah. Sandwiches, everything.
Right.
Yeah.
But there seems to be a faith element to this.
Yeah, very much so.
Talk to me about that.
Well, as you know, when I started in recovery, I met my sponsor also there. He's got 10 years in the program, and my thing was I'm a huge advocate. I love science. I just love it. And I wasn't really, I was spiritual, but all my life I kind of, God, it was kind of cool not to believe in God for a long time. People did that, don't know why. And he put it to me, if you can believe in science, just give this a try, because you don't really have any proof of that other than what's on Cosmos and all those cool things,
Yeah.
And that's what I gave a try.
You bet.
But like it says on there, changing lives one cup at a time.
Okay, were you here this morning?
Yes.
Okay, what did you think of the opening meeting?
It was awesome. There was that minister from Spokane with the guitar.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It brought me to
Right.
tears. It was really cool.
Isn't it interesting that, and I said this earlier, they tell us to get a higher power, but then they tell us not to talk about him when we do.
Oh, I talk about it all the time.
But
I
have
no
you
problem.
noticed that in some circles?
Yeah, I have. I've heard. Yeah. I know he's.
But you're not shy about it.
Oh, heck no! I want to touch everybody and just let them feel what I'm feeling. Yeah, I really do. Spread it around. It's good stuff.
For you.
Yeah,
Good for you.
Feels
Okay,
great.
talk to us about Clean Street.
Clean Street was started by Jeff's son, Elliot. He's a youngster. He's in WSU. He had a vision that teens, youngsters didn't have a place to meet. We have a lot of, basement-style meetings where the coffee is really strong for the old guys and not really any places for the youth.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea is to get it to the youth before it's a problem, before. So we opened Clean Street. It's a meeting hall. We've got a pool table, got a couple other things in there. And we realized as it grew that we needed, there was just much more. So that's why we opened the doors to everybody. So it's... there is a lot of faith there. That's the thing. It is very faith-based.
Okay, what goes on there? I mean, is there pool tables? Is there?
Yeah, there's a pool table. Mostly what goes on there is meetings.
Okay.
Meetings are, not a lot of people they go to meetings and it's already established. So these are small meetings. First meeting I went there, it was me and one other guy. And he had 10 years.
These are 12-step focus meetings?
Yeah,
AA.
Okay.
Okay.
And I go there now 5 times a week. Well, that one guy has 10 years. That became my sponsor. So
cool.
AA started with 2 people. It was
There
just
you go.
Bill and the doctor. So
Yeah.
So it's very intimate, and as we grow, we're up to about 20 people in the meeting. Some of their big NA meetings on Thursday night. We have speaker meetings. The therapeutic courts come in. They have their Friday night meetings, and then Al-Anon speaks there too. So basically, what it is, it's just it's a hall to have meetings in a space where we didn't have them.
Right. Okay.
For people to start meetings early on that aren't established. A lot of meetings, and they're all good meetings, but a lot of meetings have their set people that go to it, and it can be very overwhelming when you're first in the program.
Yeah.
If you don't quite fit in, and we're trying to
same people
break
get
that.
called on.
Exactly,
Yeah,
and that's that's understandable. It's human
That's
nature.
okay,
I get that,
yeah.
but for some of us, like I had a big group of people when I did drugs
Right.
that I was a part of, and when I didn't have that anymore, I'm that kind of person. I need to I want to feel cool, and
Yeah.
this place made me feel like I belonged again,
Right.
like a
Right.
part of something, and that's what everybody that walks in that door is a part of something, and it's a coffee house you can walk in and say, hey, I feel like using, and you will not feel like using for very long, because you will get somebody's ear right away, and somebody will help.
Somebody will come alongside you. And,
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely.
So, do you think that maybe when it is that open for somebody, I'm going to put devil's advocate here, to come in and say, hey, I feel like using, maybe some won't come because they know if they say that, they may end up not using. And
That's true.
Maybe they want to use.
But, someone that feels that way probably still needs to use.
They're probably going to do it, aren't they?
Yeah, and they just need to get that out of their system. If there was a way to magically convince people to not use when they still didn't have them, it wouldn't have worked on me. I had to use till I was done. And a lot of people, as awful as that is, that's where we're at with
and you pray that
recovery.
They make it through it.
Pray for every single person.
Sometimes they don't.
But we're there for them.
Yeah.
The only thing I can do for them is just give them a list of meetings, and hope I see them there.
So because Vancouver is so big on the recovery thing, and there's so many meetings going on and activities and events, and from what I've seen, there's a lot of faith-based stuff going on too. Do you think, in your perception, what you witnessed, that the faith community, i.e. recovery faith community, and the secular AA, NA, i.e. recovery community, that they're meshing well, they're getting along well?
It's what I see happening, and this comes from a lot of people with more time have a different view, but I'm viewing it from the front line. I just came out of the trenches.
Right.
I always thought there was religion and there was spirituality. Those were the two.
Right.
And one scared me and one didn't.
Yeah.
But in between there is faith. Faith is the thing, and that's the combination that I see gelling. Is people aren't so much about these are how you believe, but just if you believe. You know what I mean? And if you want to get better.
So it's not so much, in some circles, it's us against them. I know that from where I live.
Yeah.
It's us against them, regardless of what side of the fence you're on.
Yeah.
But I've never heard it put that way before. Between spirituality and
religion is faith.
Is faith.
Faith, and that's where my recovery's at. Is faith.
That's cool.
My sponsor doesn't require me to have a specific name for my higher power.
Do you?
I believe in God. I've been entertaining Jesus Christ because I like the feeling I get when I go to churches. The whole way to get this whole thing for anybody, if they really want it, is to just be open-minded. If you can just be open-minded and just find the similarities, it makes this thing so much easier. My last 63 days have been a blast. I've had so much fun.
Because you stopped fighting.
Yeah, exactly, and I'm willing.
Right.
And why wouldn't I? I mean, if you told me there was a bunch of miserable people or there was a bunch of happy people, I'm going to go to the happy people every time. And that's where I found a bunch of happy people that are thriving, living life, enjoying it, and nobody's getting loaded.
Did you ever think before that those happy people weren't really? That can't be. They can't.
I didn't even think they existed. When you have your drug goggles on, when you're in the addiction, you don't see that.
Right.
I didn't realize. Now that I'm in recovery, I found out just a couple blocks from where I lived the last 6 months was an Oxford House, which is a group of guys in recovery.
Right.
I'm part of an Oxford House, and I never knew it was even an Oxford House. And now that my eyes are adjusted, I've gotten my recovery contacts on, my recovery glasses. I see it everywhere. It's everywhere. There's so much more recovery than there is drug use.
Yeah. All right, Bill. Well, listen, man. Thanks for talking with us.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so the website, is there a web address on here? It's groundsforrecovery@gmail.com. We got that.
We are right off of St. John's, right across the street from the Z Laundromat, which is right by PIC, Partners in Careers.
Okay.
So on St. John's, you can't miss
us. On St. John's in Vancouver, Washington.
Yep. Grounds for Recovery, it's right on the corner. And Clean Streets is just 2 doors down.
Cool.
Yep.
Cool. And the owner is Jeff Talbot, and
yes.
The phone number is 360-907-0985.
Yep.
All right, Bill.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And for Grounds for Recovery, right on, brother.
God bless you.
Okay, God bless you. All right, my friends, listen, we will be back very shortly. Don't go away. More from the Recovery Northwest Project in Vancouver, Washington.
Free by the Sea is a drug and alcohol recovery center located in beautiful Ocean Park, Washington. This facility is amazingly gorgeous, but what's even more amazing is the integrity of the staff and the treatment provided for those wishing to recover from narcotic and alcohol addiction. The folks at Free by the Sea have a passion for presenting the solution to addiction for you or your loved one. To speak with an admission specialist, visit freebythesea.com or call toll-free 800-272-9199. This place is simply amazing.
This is Chris Schroeder. You are listening to Take12Radio.com, recovery talk and positive music.
All right. Well, welcome, friends and family, and all of you in recovery, those of you who are advocates of, and perhaps some of you who should be, and all of you should be here, that's for sure, here at the Recovery Northwest Project here in Vancouver, Washington. We are at the Red Lion Inn in Vancouver, and I just want to give a shout out right now for the folks at Free by the Sea in Ocean Park, Washington. who are sponsoring, a lot of our travel and our expenses coming here. And also the folks at the Northwest Recovery Project who have made a way where there seems to be no way. We are here for them, about them, and hopefully we're going to educate you a little bit more about what this thing is all about. Right now in the booth is Fletcher Drew. Fletcher, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great.
Okay, so Fletcher, you are somebody that has been around a while. How long have you been doing the recovery deal?
Oh, wow. Actually, I've been in continuous recovery now for going on 18 years.
Okay. That's quite a while. So you've seen a lot of interesting things come and go over 18 years, true?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Where do you think we are right now in the recovery community versus 18 years ago? You think we're making headway? You think we've kind of maybe made some mistakes and are getting better? What's your opinion of the 12-step movement?
Well, I have some various views on the 12-step movement. I think that right now we're actually definitely making headway. I don't think we've made really any mistakes. I think it's been a learning process and a growing process.
Okay.
And I see that now we're starting to come out of the basements and into the limelight. We're coming out, we're celebrating recovery out in the open, in public, in venues such as this, where we're inviting people to come out and share their recovery. We're going to be in the park tomorrow. We're going to be out there celebrating that we're in recovery instead of hiding it away and being shameful about it.
Right. And I think what you said is really key, because we have been kind of hiding in the basements of our churches and meeting halls, really misunderstanding what anonymity is, because it doesn't mean secrecy.
Right.
Our public relations policy is, based on attraction rather than promotion, not our personal stories.
Correct.
And so this is a really good deal. So what is your, I hate to use this term, but what is your title? With Recovery Northwest Project.
I'm the chairman.
Okay.
I'm basically what I do is I keep the meetings running on time and straight, and everybody else is doing all the work. So we have some remarkable people doing some remarkable jobs. People that are even they're working full time, and yet they're still able to put in almost a full day's work in short amount of time,
right,
in getting this thing running.
Okay, so from the conception of RNWP, all right, to today, how long has it taken to put this thing together?
Well, I believe there was, before I came into this picture, there was some talks going on from SAMHSA and DBHR saying they wanted to have a hub on the West Coast, sort of like the projects that they have on the East Coast, right, in Philadelphia and New York. And some talks were done, and some money was granted to this. And then in December, Patty Katz and Tony Perkins sort of spearheaded an initial meeting where we met and talked about what we would like, what we thought it should look like. Then there was a short break while we were trying to figure it out. And in the meantime, during that time, we lost Tony Perkins. He passed away. Mm-hmm. And so we've been working on this now steady since, I believe, February. And so between February and September is how long we've been working on this. We would have liked to have had a lot more time, but unfortunately, but we were still able, with all the help from all the people involved, we were still able to make this project a success. And yesterday was phenomenal. For the first day, and
I was really impressed for the first day, and especially being a Friday, a lot of people showing up. A lot of times you get a lot more people on Saturday because people are off work, of course,
right? And
we're probably going to get flooded with a lot more people today.
We're hoping that, yes.
Yeah. Okay, so this morning here, in just a little bit, we're going to be listening to kind of a unique speaker. And that's not to say that we haven't had some other unique speakers. We had a comedian last night.
And she was phenomenal.
She did an excellent job. It's tough to be a woman of her age, be a comedian, particularly in front of people in the recovery community. We're pretty picky.
We are, and and sometimes most mainstream comics are, they talk about drinking and drug use and stuff like that. So
right.
You really have to choose your topics. When you're doing topical comedy, you have to choose your topics well when you're doing this. And she did an excellent job. She had the director of the Sob Board just laying on the table laughing. So it was very, very good. She did an excellent job.
And 99.9% of everything she did was family friendly, which is
pretty
really,
much, yeah.
Which is that's difficult sometimes.
It is.
You can dirty up a clean joke, but you can't clean up a dirty one.
Yeah, that's true, definitely.
So I appreciated her, and so there's just a lot of great folks here. There's exhibitors, presenters. You guys had breakout meetings. Tell us about some of those.
Well, some of the breakout meetings that we had were just packed. That we had a trauma and relapse prevention done by actually one of my teachers when I was going through counselor school. And he did trauma and how it relates to relapse prevention, and he had a lot of people in there. And his wife was here. She's a Buddhist and also does some shamanistic meditation stuff. She had a group in there for meditation and wellness, and then they came together and did a couples in recovery group, and that was
that's cool.
That was really cool. We had a person that came in and did an art therapy type group, how to do do art projects with your children and stuff like that. We had a lady came in from Washington State University and did a nutrition and nutritional style class. We've had people from Grounds from Recovery, which is a recovery coffee shop here in Vancouver.
Right.
They came in and
they're part of Clean Street.
Clean Street is the community center, and Grounds for Recovery. Right. Grounds for Recovery is the coffee shop.
Yeah.
And so they came in and did how to mold the community, in recovery and stuff, and interface with others and stuff. There's just so many different breakout projects. We had, I think, 10 of them yesterday.
What's amazing about all of this, in comparison to some other, symposiums and conventions and things like that, where you have people from all over the country, there's a lot of this stuff you're talking about right now going on right here in Vancouver.
Yes. Yeah.
This is a huge hub for the recovery community. It's unlike anything I've seen before.
It is. I mean, we have Portland right across the bridge.
Right.
So we have this huge community. We have recovery clubs throughout the area. We have the Grounds for Recovery, of course. We have the Alano Club. We have the URS Club in Portland. We have all of these different things, and there's even Alano East over in Gresham. And we have this huge community that comes together in events like this, like tomorrow Oxfest and Hands Across the Bridge. There's people coming from all over the state.
Yeah, because that's the World Convention of the Oxford House movement, right?
Yes, that was this weekend in Portland. So, I mean, we have people coming from all over the place for this, and we hope to make this a regional event. We see it, our goal is to have this, if money wasn't a problem and logistics weren't a problem, we'd like to see this alternate locations. Sometime in Seattle, sometime, in Salem, maybe once in Idaho or something, because this is a region. Right. And we'd like to see that.
Oh, that would be cool.
That would be
cool.
Alternating years, different places and stuff like that. So.
Very good, very good. Well, listen, man, I congratulate you.
Thank you very much.
I really do. It's an absolute pleasure to be here and be focusing. Our station has been intentionally focusing on the Pacific Northwest more than ever. This is our backyard.
It is.
And so it's just a real honor to do so and be present and talk to so many really fabulous people whose passion is to help the hurting. Number one health crisis in our world, addiction.
It is, definitely. Yeah, we see it all the time at work, and and our hope is that we're going to be able to reach out to some people. We're hoping people come in here that may not be in recovery yet and say, hey, this looks like there's a lot of help here. There's something for me here, and they're going to be able to be reached out to and be able to make it into that world.
Hey, one more thing I want to draw the listeners' attention to is something I've asked a couple of people, and I'm going to ask you. The faith community and the recovery community, specifically the 12-steppers, okay, years ago, and the medical community, back in the days of the founders of Alcoholics Anonymous, were really working together well.
Yes.
And, then Dr. Bob passed away. And things kind of got a little sideways. And then they really got sideways after a few years, and it kind of just fractioned off. And, the clinicians were tired of us not paying our bills and throwing up on their shoes. The faith community understood the solution, but not the problem. The 12-steppers understood the problem, but not the solution. And everybody kind of went their own way. And then it was us against them. And that. Do you see that coming back together?
I do.
I do too. Yeah.
We definitely have a strong faith-based community here in Vancouver. And as a counselor myself, I see a lot of people that reaching out to that.
Yeah.
It's a combined thing. We can't do recovery just on one leg. This is
can't just do clinical. Can't just do nutrition.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It needs to be. It needs to be melded into a whole with all these different parts coming in, and faith-based community, medical, and stuff like that. We all need to be able to work together with this.
We do.
Because everybody's different. Everybody's recovery takes a different form. The 12 steps have that spiritual component, and people need that. A lot of people need that, I should say. And earlier I talked about coming out of the basements. I don't mean that as a disparagement. I mean, I still go to my NA meetings.
Oh, yeah.
I still go to them. I will go to them for the rest of my life because they're now a part of my life.
They're
a part of everybody's life. But, I mean, but there's different components for different people. So, but we've got to be able to work together, whether you're faith-based or not, it's there for you, and it needs to be that way. There needs to be that cohesiveness.
Yeah, you bet. I don't go to my pastor to get my broken leg set.
Exactly.
I don't go to my doctor to get my spiritual, counseling advice.
Right.
And I probably don't go to either one of those to learn about my nutrition. I go to a nutritionist.
Right.
And on it goes.
Right.
You're not going to get nutrition facts at a 12-step support meeting.
Right.
But what's so funny to me, and I was talking to Marco about this last night, is we say certain things are outside issues within our 12-step support meetings, right? But then they really aren't.
Right. They're not. I mean, but it kind of has to be that way, I guess, for the meetings, because they want to focus on one thing. The 12-step meetings have worked since Dr. Bob and
right.
Bill W. came into, brought this into the forefront. It's worked. It works for thousands and thousands and thousands of people, and that works. And I guess there's that philosophy: if it's broke, don't fix it. If it's not broke, If it's not broke, don't fix it.
Right.
And it works. But then, everybody's different, and there's different things for different people. So if that's not what's working for you, there's other things. There's smart recovery. There's the pastors, women for sobriety. There's all these different things that people can take advantage of. So if that one piece doesn't fit, then you can take another piece and put that in there, and you still have that wellness plan. And
right.
You still have that cohesiveness. So there's not one that works any better than the others. It just depends on what your personal recovery is going to look like.
Right, and some people aren't alcoholics and addicts of the hopeless variety. They're abusers, heavy drinkers.
I've heard people can do that. I've heard people can. There's people out there that can drink without a problem. I'm not one.
Or
of
they
them.
have some problems and they just need to grow up and get some basic life skills and move on. Yeah.
And my wife is an advocate for recovery. Mm-hmm. However, now she's starting to see. She's now been smoke free. She hasn't smoked in over a year.
Good for her.
And she's and so everybody like someone was stating in our opening ceremonies yesterday, everybody has problems. There's not one of us out there that doesn't have some problem or another that we could, that we wouldn't want to, maybe change, and to make in order to make ourselves better people. And so, these skills that us 12-steppers and people in recovery have, anybody can use them. You don't have to be in recovery from drugs and alcohol in order to use them. You can use them for whatever you need to use them for.
I want to get a T-shirt someday made that says, "There are no normies."
Yeah. What's that famous saying? Normal is a setting on a washing machine.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. All right, buddy. Thank you so much.
Not a problem.
All right. Fletcher Drew, here, the chairman of Recovery Northwest Project. We'll be back after this. Choosing a facility for drug and alcohol rehabilitation treatment is an important decision. It should be a place where you will be comfortable and supported, and one that is staffed, equipped, and programmed for successful outcomes. Introducing Free by the Sea, located on 5 acres of secluded waterfront property along the southwest Washington coast, away from big city distractions. The campus is a renovated resort property, so the grounds are lush and beautiful. Above all, the reason to choose Free by the Sea is the success rate of our counselors and staff in helping clients to transition to a life free from addiction. For more information or to schedule a visit, call 800-272-9199 or visit our website at www.freebythesea.com. Free by the Sea, charting a new course to recovery. Well, I can't believe how fast the time has gone. Trying to pack all of these great interviews into just 3 days worth of shows. So we're going to be coming back with you tomorrow to continue our broadcast from the Recovery Northwest Project in Vancouver, Washington. You don't want to miss tomorrow. Besides some other great interviews, we're going to be featuring David Dickinson, the regional administrator for Region 10 from SAMHSA. He's going to be my guest, as well as skateboarding trailblazer Mr. Dennis Martinez, world-class skateboarder with a tremendous story. This guy he's working with people in an arena maybe you and I couldn't work in. It is absolutely phenomenal, the work that Dennis Martinez is doing. He's not just a skateboard champion. He's not just one of the world's best skateboardists of all time. He is a man of God serving the recovery community in a powerful, powerful way. You don't want to miss it. Remember, this show is exclusively sponsored by Free by the Sea, a recovery treatment, and just a phenomenal location in Ocean Park, Washington. I stutter over it because I'm so amazed at these people. You have to visit their website at the very least, freebythesea.com. Until our next broadcast, this is the Monty Man. I'm wishing God's perfect serenity for you. Bye-bye.
This has been a broadcast of KHLT Recovery Broadcasting.
Kitty, 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 kitty.